What's up, Mr. Grant? How you doing, bro?
I'm good. How are you?
Thanks for taking the time, man. So you've been part of Postal Heroes for how long now?
I would say about a year and a half.
And how did you find out about us? What's been your journey into getting into real estate? What does your company look like? Um, Give us a little bit of backstory.
Yeah, so I found out through TikTok. Coincidentally, I signed up with a company called Easy Button Leads. And then I actually was introduced to Wholesale Heroes through Easy Button Leads. Um, and basically I've been wholesaling for coming on probably like a year and a half now. And kind of got connected with a group of people that are like-minded and just looking to build out companies at a very high and efficient level. And just kind of the group just gave me the opportunity to bounce my ideas off of people that were doing it at a higher level and kind of learn and grow and have a mapped out plan to be successful in this business.
And what did you do before you were had your own real estate company?
I was kind of working with another small like mom and pop wholesale shop, but I was my background's in finance.
So what did you do? You were like the financial analyst, or
just really I was selling unsecured business finance to small businesses who couldn't get traditional financing. So on the phones a lot, calling businesses who were not approved by bank loans and just trying to get them the funds they were looking to acquire in a timely manner.
That's awesome, man. And give us your first deal story. So when you started your own real estate company, give us that first deal. How did it come about? What marketing did it come from? What was the fee size? Give us the first deal story.
Yeah, first deal. I was on a Mojo dialer. I was calling pre-foreclosures every day. So I got a deal under contract, went out on an in-person appointment, and I got the lady to sign on the spot. And it was, I got everything in one deal. It was a messy deal. There were a lot of stuff that went wrong, but kind of stuck through it and figured it out, got to the closing table. And the fee was $21,000. And kind of after that, I was just pretty much hooked from there. I've always been into cold calling, so I knew that was gonna probably be my route to find the majority of my business. And then I kind of just been going on ever since then.
And so once you got that first deal, what did that do for you psychologically? What changes did that make internally for you after you got that first check? You're like, oh shit, like I did this myself.
It just made it super apparent that this was something that like you just don't hear about people. You hear about it and a lot of people think it's a super easy thing to do, right?
Yeah.
But more so I learned about the work that needed to be put into the transactions and what went on in between the deal. But it also made me realize this is something that I could do on a consistent basis, and make some money doing it consistently.
Love it, bro. Love it. And what would you say now that you've been a part of the Wholesale Heroes for a while? What have we, obviously you get the courses, you get the weekly calls, you've done the small group, you've done the 4-week intensive. What has been the thing that has been the biggest takeaway for you so far that's allowed you to get to where you're at so quickly, right? Because your goal next year is at $2 million. I know we've been talking offline a little bit. So what have you learned that's allowed you to have that confidence to say, okay, yeah, I'm only a year and a half in, but I'm headed in the direction of doing $2 million in a year, which is most small businesses never even make it to 1 million. So the fact that you have the confidence to have that kind of goal, what's gone into that?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just been like the group lays out a blueprint and shows you what people that are there are doing already. So the biggest thing for me is I'm not going to go and reinvent the wheel. And the resources are there for me to put in place to kind of get to that number that I want, and even maybe a higher number at a quick pace because it's mapped out for me already. Mm-hmm. The small group was huge for me, honestly, because I got the attention and kind of the breakdown of my personal business and kind of went over the strong suits that I have and where I can kind of what's the word? Uh, Outsource other things in my business, so I can focus on the things that are going to generate my company the most money.
Love it, bro. And what are those things right now that you've implemented through Wholesale Heroes that are generating you, a bunch of money? What would you say? Now we're kind of into a recession. The people that are looking at potentially joining, a group like this or another coaching group, spending, obviously there's a cost to join any group, right? So, why do you think? Give us the pros and cons of a real estate entrepreneur of Wholesale Heroes. Why it could be a good fit. Who do you think it's not a good fit for? And break that down for us.
I think it's a good fit for people that are willing to put the work in and actually implement the things they're going to hear, right? I don't think it's a good fit for somebody that doesn't want to put the work in or thinks they're just going to come in and get rich quick because they're joining a group of people that are successful, so they think they're just going to tag along and be successful. Listen, I mean, it could be for anyone, right? If you want to learn how to get your first deal and just do a couple deals a year, I mean, it could be a great deal for you to learn that and have the guidance. But I think it's really great for the people that actually want to build this as a company long term, instead of hey, I just want to make my $20,000 to do what I want to do and ball out for every month, right? Like, I think it's great for the people that are like, hey, I want to build a company that's going to generate me money at a consistent basis, month in and month out. So I think that's who I think is a really best fit, because it's a super transparent group too, right? It's not like you don't get the attention that you need. If you had to ask a question, you'll get a couple different ways that a couple different people are successfully working that avenue of their business, which I think is important, because everybody doesn't operate the same. So having a couple different viewpoints is huge.
Absolutely, man. And then thanks for sharing that. And then what would you say is your number one goal, obviously besides revenue, now that you have the tools from this group over the next 5 years? Because obviously we introduce you guys to a lot of different industries. You guys get kind of introduced to multifamily and doing a bunch of fix and flips. Like, what's the next thing that you want to, once you have your $2 million business, what do you want to focus on after that?
I think at $2 million, it's a stabilized form where we can kind of just pour a lot more gasoline on the fire once we have the systems in place. And 2 million is a small goal. We really want to get to 5 million and then probably go on to the multifamily class once the ship's running at full steam. But we really just need to focus on, obviously, the one source. I don't want to dip my eggs into too many baskets right now. I want to make sure I have one well-oiled machine, especially due to the market we're in, right? We don't really know what's coming, but we know what's working, right? We know that our cold callers are generating a lot of leads for us on a daily basis, and that works really well. So we want to just stick to that until we're very stable and very comfortable with what we're doing in our process before we jump somewhere else into most likely the multifamily class.
Love it, man. Well, I appreciate you, Tom, jumping on and sharing about your experience with Wholesale Heroes. And looking forward to whoever ends up watching this and one day joining, they'll be able to connect with you and all the other guys inside. So, and it's definitely community, right? So, before we jump off here, you maybe give us a minute about that community aspect, right? Meeting other people that are like-minded, doing the similar thing, traveling. I know we just did something in San Diego. We got to meet a bunch of guys. So, how important has that been to you, kind of meeting like-minded people?
I mean, it's huge, because like when you're feeling down, you have a community to pick you up, right? Like it's not always an easy journey. Like it can be a very tough and like being an entrepreneur, it gets super lonely sometimes, right? Like sometimes, like every day there's something that comes up, and a lot of times you want to give up, but having a bunch of people that are doing the same thing, it kind of brings you up when you're feeling down sometimes, and you know that where you're looking to get is obtainable by hearing people's wins or people coming out of a slump or whatever it may be. I think that community just kind of gives you that extra motivation to keep pushing.
Totally, bro. Awesome. I appreciate your time, man. And I'm hoping that whoever watches this is excited to connect with you and other guys that are killing it right now inside of a group. So I appreciate you, Grant.
Yeah, no problem, man.